Greetings. My name is David Wyrick, and I'm a volunteer with the Great Trail Council, serving on the Council's Executive Board.
And I'm Jody Gildersleeve, Development Director of the Great Trail Council. And on behalf of the 13,000 scouting families that we serve, I say thank you. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be a presenter for the Friends of Scouting campaign.
Friends of Scouting, better known as FOS, is the annual campaign where volunteers from our council, like yourself, ask families, businesses, and civic-minded citizens to support the mission of our council, which is to prepare young people to make ethical choices over their lifetime by instilling in them the values of the Boy Scout oath and law. In other words, our mission is all about changing young people's lives.
Throughout the FOS campaign, volunteers work in 3 areas when it comes to asking for financial commitment. These are community, majors, and family. You're a critical asset to our Family Donors campaign, and we're going to rely on you to make inspiring, productive, and heartfelt presentations to the families of the Scouts in our council.
Now, studies tell us that most people will decide to give to a nonprofit organization based on several factors. There are 4 factors that top the list. First is the cause. It's what a successful organization is all about. The organization must be united in its purpose. If people don't understand the cause or the mission, they will not give to it. People don't just give to an organization, they give to a cause. Is scouting an important cause on their list of causes? People will give their money if they know it matters. People need to sense the importance of promoting the cause.
Secondly, people give to an efficient organization. They want evidence that the money they give is used carefully and wisely. People see their money as an investment, and they want to know if that investment is effective. And they want to know how accountable the organization is.
The third factor that determines people's giving is impact. Potential givers want to know how the money they give will make a difference in their home, community, or the nation. We can't be subtle about what we're doing. People have a lot of different causes to give to, including the Red Cross, the United Way, or their place of worship. We must remind parents and leaders that scouting makes a positive impact in the lives of young people, which makes a difference in this great country.
Finally, a sense of personal benefit is an important factor when it comes to giving. People ask, what's in it for me? Parents want to be able to identify that they have been helped by their giving. They want to be able to see how their Cub Scout, Boy Scout, or venture has been genuinely affected. This is important. If people know they've been helped, they'll want to help.
We know you have benefited in some way from scouting, or you wouldn't be watching this training. You wouldn't be willing to give up your valuable time to ask for commitments unless it meant something very special to you. Thanks again for your help and commitment. Now, let's get some practical training to help you have the best FOS unit presentation possible.
So, you received a call from your nice District Family FOS chair asking you to be a unit presenter. You've checked your calendar, and you can make it. Congratulations. Obviously, your district has confidence in you to do a great job. So now what do? Actually, the first thing you need to do is to commit to the Friends of Scouting campaign yourself. That means you have to set an example financially.
Welcome to leadership. I learned when I became the senior patrol leader of my Boy Scout troop many years ago that leaders set an example. I couldn't expect the Scouts to wear their uniforms if I didn't wear mine. You need to make a substantial commitment yourself to the FOS campaign to be an example setter. That may be the most important thing you do as a presenter. You'll see what I mean later. And after you've made your commitment, begin thinking of yourself as an ambassador. I am convinced that outside of the unit leaders, the FOS presenters are the most important people in the council. You are ambassadors from the Great Trail Council. And just as international ambassadors represent their countries in other countries, so FOS presenters represent the Great Trail Council to parents of Scouts. I'm a pastor, and in my line of work I sometimes remind people that they are the only Bible some people will ever read. Well, as an FOS presenter, you are the only council that most people will ever see. So, how does it feel to be an ambassador? Now, we're not going to call you Your Excellency, but we want you to know that for an excellent FOS presentation, understand your role as an ambassador from your district and from the Great Trail Council. And as an ambassador, make sure your uniform is in tip-top shape. All presenters must wear their complete uniform.
The third thing you'll need to do is to call the contact person from the unit where you'll be presenting. The unit contact person will be the Cub Master, Scout Master, or someone else whose responsibility has been designated. The district FOS chair should provide you with these names and phone numbers. Call the contact person a week ahead of time. This is important because it sets up a relationship with the unit. When you talk to the person, verify the date, the time, and the place. Also be sure to find out what type of meeting you'll be presenting at. Is it a blue and gold banquet, court of honor, or a unit committee meeting? Assure the contact person that you plan to be there the entire evening and that your main presentation will last about 5 to 10 minutes, and you'll need a few minutes at the end to announce the results and give out some items. Be sure to ask if it would be okay to put some information at the place settings if there's a dinner. And of course, thank the person on behalf of the council for the opportunity to speak.
That is so important. That phone conversation sets the entire tone for a great presentation. You are an ambassador from the council, essentially making an appointment to share important information about scouting.
The fourth thing you need to do before a presentation is to think of a 1 to 2 minute short personal story of how scouting has benefited you, your family, or the community. People will commit as long as they know there is impact. People need to be reminded that scouting makes a difference every day. The best way to do this is through a short, personal, inspirational story of how you've been impacted and benefited. You will use this story as part of your presentation.
Next, you will want to make sure you have the necessary materials to bring with you to your presentation. Your district FOS chair will have these available, and you will want to make arrangements to pick these materials up or have them dropped off at your home. These materials include envelopes, brochures, rosters, your script, pens, leader's mug, and the gifts of appreciation, the incentive items. You can't do a presentation without these, and we'll explain them in detail later. One important piece of information you will be provided is how much the unit contributed the previous year. Your goal will be to exceed that.
Next, be sure to call the unit leader a day or two before your presentation. Ask the unit leader if he or she would be willing to take no more than 30 seconds of your presentation to share his or her financial contribution. We'll talk more about this later as well.
Great! You've made your own personal commitment, you're in ambassador mode, you've made your contact, you've got your personal story of how scouting has impacted you, and you've got your materials. Are you ready for your presentation? The day has arrived and you're ready for your presentation. Your car is loaded and you're ready to go. Get your full uniform on. There's no second chance at a first impression. Plan to arrive early. Mingle with people. Help with some setup. Introduce yourself. You're an ambassador, remember? Introduce yourself to the unit's FOS coordinator and unit leader. Ask them if they would be willing to help you collect the pledge information during your presentation. It is best to have adults do this. Give them the pens and tell them to present a pen to everyone who fills out a pledge envelope. Ask one of the leaders to help you tabulate after the presentation. You will then need to find a location where you can make camp with all your FOS stuff, preferably a corner in the same room. Out of the way, but within eyesight is best. If the event is a dinner, place the FOS pledge envelopes and brochures at each place setting. Perhaps some scouts could help you do that. If there is no dinner, line up 3 or 4 scouts who will help pass out the envelopes and brochures during your presentation.
When called upon to give your presentation, be positive, project confidence, and show enthusiasm. Don't flinch from talking about finances. Show no fear and embarrassment. We must demonstrate and believe that Scouting has a great deal to offer, and we are making a commitment to the impact of Scouting. Follow your script, but try not to read it. Be brief, no more than about 5 or 10 minutes. Your 5 to 10 minutes should be divided into 3 parts: the introduction, your story, and the ask.
The first part of your presentation, the introduction, is in your script. Stay with your script and don't deviate from it because that will cost you time and you may lose your audience. The second part, your story, needs to be that inspiring story that emphasizes the personal impact and benefit Scouting has made on your life or your son's life. Try to tell the story from your heart and without notes. Let me give you an example. Back when I was 11 years old, I went to summer camp for the first time and I was homesick. I did not do very well, and it was hot, it was muggy, and I was covered with mosquito bites, and when visitors night came, my mother wanted to take me home. My father said no, let him stay, and my scoutmaster agreed. As a matter of fact, my scoutmaster even talked to my mother, trying to convince her to let me stay, and stay I did. And I'm glad I did, because it did me a lot of good. I learned something very important. I learned perseverance. I learned stick-to-itiveness. And that lesson has stayed with me my entire life.
The final part of your presentation is what we call the ask. Again, don't flinch from talking about finances. Never say something like, and now we're at the part that nobody wants to hear. If nobody wants to hear it, then why are you there? Speak in terms of commitment to the impact and benefit of scouting. Stay with the script. And here's that welcome to the leadership example part that we talked about earlier. Be sure to emphasize your commitment by sharing your personal story and by saying something as simple as, I feel so strongly about scouting in the Great Trail Council that I've pledged $500 or whatever amount. You'll make a positive presentation. When people see leaders feeling comfortable and good about giving, then they'll do it the same. And then, if the unit leader would also share his or her amount, people will respond. They will commit to the cause by hearing about the impact. After that, walk your audience through filling out the pledge form and then ask the unit leaders you spoke with earlier to collect the envelopes. They are to give a pen to everyone who turns in an envelope. Finally, end your presentation with a big thank you and let them know that towards the end of the program, you will return with the results.
There's still work to do after the presentation. Find the person you asked to help you tabulate and get to it. Get your unit roster ready with a pen. Open each envelope and record names and amounts on the tally envelope. Cross-check those that have pledged with the unit roster and check off their names. Put all pledge envelopes in the big tally envelope. And address the provided blank envelopes to those individuals or families with no check mark by their name on the unit roster. Then place those in the big envelope. A letter and pledge card will be sent from the Scout office to these folks. Finally, match your appreciation gifts, the incentives, with the donors and get them ready to hand out as people leave.
You're almost done. Towards the end of the program, come forward and announce the result. If it is more than the previous year, announce the previous year first and then the new amount. Call the unit leader forward and present a mug to him or her on behalf of the Great Trail Council. You're an ambassador, remember? This mug should have been provided with the rest of your FOS information. Remind those who gave particular amounts to see you as they leave to pick up their gifts of appreciation. Thank them again and then again. And finally get all the information to your district executive or district FOS chair as soon as possible.
From one volunteer to another, I want to thank you for taking the time to become a trained Friends of Scouting presenter. Your dedication and enthusiasm are very much appreciated.
Okay, that really, I think, says most of what goes through your script. What we look for, and as I said in the